Morning, guys. Welcome to the channel, or good evening. When I don't ever know when I'm gonna drop the video, but either way, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're hanging out with me. Today's video, I want to touch on three different areas that will make us, especially us average guys out on the water, and newcomers as well, even some pros, old guys, better fishermen. And I have I've spent a lot of time on the internet fishing. Ever since the internet came out, I've been obsessed with looking at anything fishing. I remember when I was excited I could get Bassmasters online instead of the magazine. Um, anyway, there's areas that we can improve on as fishermen that we generally don't think about. When we think of getting better as an angler, I know I was always, in my earlier days, I would spend out in the yard with my rod and reel, my bait caster, throwing at a bucket. Everybody said, man, if you're gonna be a good fisherman, you gotta put the time in with the rods and the reels and practice, and you gotta spend time on the water and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm about to touch on is a little bit different than that, and it's not something that we as a rule think about. So hang out with me. I gotta get my line unhung, and then I'm gonna regroup, and we're gonna get into this. Be back in just a second. Alright guys, with that little issue resolved, I can think about what I was trying to say now without worrying about, can't stand my hook being hooked on something while I'm trying to talk it. I realize I can't catch fish like that, so it needs to come free. Anyway, first topic I want to kind of go over, and this is something that didn't really pay that much attention to growing up. I focused on baits and stuff like that. What color baits and all that. It's not really that important as everybody thinks. Bass behavior is something that we need to really focus on as a bass fisherman. Now, if you're a brim fisherman or you're a crappie fisherman, what I'm talking about applies to whatever species you're after. Learning bass behavior, becoming a student of the fish that you're pursuing, basically, will increase your productivity. Learning where those fish are, season by season, learning where they should be, gives you a starting point every time you hit the water. Some guys go, man, I'm going out on this lake and I don't have a clue, I don't know where to start, so they take 9,000 rod and reels. Well, knowing bass behavior, knowing where they should be at whatever time of year, like right now it's hot summer, during the middle of the day, we've learned that a lot of your bass are going to move deep on points, bluff walls. They're going to find shade. They're going to be nosed up in current behind something if your body of water has current. We learned, bass behavior will, once you've learned the basics, you have a starting point every time you hit the water, and then you can refine down your technique and your baits and what you're doing and your presentation and the whole 9 yards. But become a student of bass behavior, and the internet is just chock full of this exact information. What happens when a bass spawns? Where do they go after the spawn? What are they looking to do? Are they feeding? Are they recuperating? When fall comes, where are they going? As fall it goes into winter. All of this information is out there if you're just willing to go look for it. It would take too long to go through all of that right now, but it's kind of basic. And once you learn that, you automatically have a wonderful starting point to your fishing trip. Every fishing trip, winter, spring, summer, fall, start with the basics, learn where they should be, start on those places, and then you'll discover, hey, they're not exactly where they should be, but they're close. And then you can match that as you go up and down the reservoir, the pond, the creek, stream, whatever you're fishing. And you can build and make yourself a pattern to catch them. Instead of a day out and get a big fat goose egg, you may start going out and catching 10 or 15 a day, which is common with the guys that I hang with, run with. So learn bass behavior, learn where they should be and what they should be doing for the time of year that you're hitting the water. And that is really the first key to becoming a better angler these days. There's all this information on baits and rods and reels and line size and hooks. But if you're not fishing where the fish are, you might as well be sitting at home fishing in the bathtub because they're not there. Technique or area number one I wanted to cover, that's pretty much it. Become a student of bass behavior. Hang out. Just a minute, we're going to get into area number 2 and go from there. I'm going to move positions and we'll reset up on this little point a little bit shallower. I have worked this 20-foot range while I've been talking. I'm going to move a little shallower and cover the mid-depth range. I'm going to say 15 up to about 5 feet. And we'll get started on the second topic after that. Hang out with me. All right, guys. Area number 2 I want to talk about today that will make us a better overall angler. We touched on bass behavior, where they go, what they do, first part of the season, during the middle of the season. Anything you can learn about where they're at during the different seasons is going to help. All right, something that most other guys don't. I never learned, I never studied, I was focused on everything else. Bass prey behavior as well. Equally as important is knowing where the fish are that you're after is where their food are at these different times of year. This is an area that I really have to work on because let's say in our lakes around here in North Alabama, I know all through the country there's different bait fish, there's different prey, there's different, they eat different, wide variety of foods. Primarily we have gizzard shad and threadfin shad here in North Alabama. Learning where the life cycle of these baits, as well as crawfish, frogs, all the different foods that a bass will eat. If you know what the bass are doing and where they're supposed to be, you know what the shad are doing, or say the crawfish are doing in a certain month, man, you're way ahead of the game. So becoming a student of the bass's prey that they're after is equally important, as learning about the fish that you're chasing. Because if you know where they're eating, you know where they're going to be. That's number 2 on the list, even though it doesn't take near as long, because it kind of falls right in line with the first area. Bass behavior, their prey behavior is equally as important. That's just something you can research rainy days when you got some free time. You might look up, I don't know, life cycle of a gizzard shad or crawfish. Learn the whole life cycle of these, and every area and every region of the country not going to be the same. Bass may, or just like bass in Florida spawn way earlier than they do here in North Alabama. Up north, they spawn a month or 2 later than they do here in North Alabama. So all of that, take that into consideration. Can't talk this morning. In the areas that you live, and just just focus on researching on specific things. I'd start on crawfish. If you're a jig fisherman, knowing the lifespan and life cycle and the activities and everything to do with the crawfish is really going to help you become a better jig fisherman. Crankbait fisherman, you want to learn more about the bluegill and the shad, what they're doing, where they're going, when they're spawning, and you know, the little things. And that's, to me, so far these two things have already been more important over the last few years for me than any amount of practice I've done with a rod and reel or the boat I'm fishing in or anything like that. Learning the behaviors of the prey and the predator is going to make you a better angler. Let's see if we can't get us one in the boat. Hang out with me. We got one more topic to cover. Alright guys, headed across the lake, changing from point to point this morning, and I want to go ahead and cover the last topic of my making us a better angler. And it's going to come down to something that it's not about gear or any of that. It comes down to who you fish with, the anglers you fish with, and the anglers you fish against. And this was my downfall, my personal downfall for 10 or 15 years. And I'm not knocking my old partner I fished with. He's one of the best guys in the world. But we were along the same level learning. And we got in a rut. And we stayed in that rut for years. We'd throw one bait. Man, if they were on it, we would catch them, and if they weren't on it, we zeroed. And we were like okay with that. And but as I mature as an angler, I realized, and when I got into kayak fishing, it really hit me. And I put myself amidst a different group of people. Guys were serious. I got to fish with different guys that were way ahead of me as far as the learning curve. These guys that I fish with and know today could go, you know, given the resources, some of these guys, there's a handful of them that could be pros. They're that good. And when you fish against better than you, and you fish with these guys and you get to go with them and you get to learn from them, it rubs off on you. You learn so much more quicker when you've got hands-on experience. You got eyeballs on what they're doing and what's going on, and just simply putting yourself in a new and different situations leads to learning more and different things. I spent years I feel like that I wasted because I did the same thing over and over and over. And I'll just be honest, I'm probably one of the best worm fishermen that's out there because I spent so much time doing it, but I didn't learn anything else during that time. I had friends, I say, hey man, you catch any fish this weekend? We'll be on Friday night tournaments. No man, we zeroed. Well, they come in with a limit every week. And I even had guys tell me what bait to use. Well, my partner, he didn't want to do that. It cramped his style. My style wanted to be winning and catching fish, not fishing a certain way. So eventually, I had to part ways. Not on bad terms, we just went our separate ways. when I got into kayak fishing, it opened my eyes to so much. And that's not saying everybody needs a kayak, but you need to put yourself into new situations, fish with different people, and learn from these guys. Learn from the guys that are better than you are, better, and that's what I try to do. I listen and I learn and I study, and I want to know why I went out yesterday and zeroed. What could I have done better? And so many times I have friends that went out on the same day and just loaded the boat. Pick their brains. It's not about stealing spots and information and stuff like that. You don't want to go fish on their holes, but you want to learn how are they being successful and you're not being successful. And that's what's helped me so much. I don't ever want to go run in on somebody and fish where they're fishing because, hey, they're catching. I don't want to be that bent rod guy looking for bent rods all over the lake where I can go mark a spot. That's not what I mean at all. But when you learn from these guys and genuinely learn, and if you approach people in the right, they're willing to help. The information in your own little circle is tremendous if you use it right and you treat people right. And in the same breath, as you learn, pass that on to somebody else. So the 3 things that we have covered today, and this has helped me personally. It's not about gear. It's not about a boat. I could fish out of an inner tube and still catch a bass. Bass behavior, bass prey behavior, learning those 2 things, you can spend a lifetime on the internet reading books. All this stuff you can learn. If you're not learning the rest of your life, you're messing up. And then fishing against and with the best anglers that you come across that will allow you to fish with them. Be courteous, be kind, use that information in a decent way. Don't go holes, hole sitting and stuff like that. Just be genuine about what you're trying to do. Say, hey, I want to learn more. Can you tell me what I did wrong today? And guys out there will help. And that's what this whole sport is about. It's not about so much, oh, I gotta load the boat every single time I go. But if you go out there and you zero, your time on the water just feels like, I just wasted a whole day. If you learn from that, you didn't waste your day. So if you'll put these 3 things into place, if you're in a rut, if you feel like you're in a rut, do something different. Fish with a new guy every now and then. Take a new guy. If you got a boat, take somebody that you know's better than you. Take them fishing and learn from them. Learn about your prey. Learn if you're a bluegill fisherman. Learn when they spawn. Learn what they eat. Learn what their food's doing. The whole 9 yards, and you will improve. Man, it's my learning curve just jumped through the roof over the last, I'm gonna say from 2015 on till now. I probably learned as much as I did my whole life, and that is not an understatement. That is because I applied myself. I hope everybody's taking this the right way. I'm not saying anybody out there is a bad fisherman or anything like that. Not accusing people of anything, but this is a good way to make yourself, and it's a good way because one of these or 2 of these I definitely have to work on myself and will continue. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you get something out of it. If you do, hit the like and subscribe like everybody says. Comment, tell me what you thought about it. Tell me if you want to see me do something different. Fish for catfish, fish for carp. Let me know in the comments what you want to see me do, and I will most definitely take it into consideration. I will see you guys next time, and I'm Will Henderson. This is Simply Fishing. You guys have a great day.